Here's a just a quickie shot of the wings themselves with the back on. You can see it's just kept on with wing nuts, and you know, the shoulder straps to keep it on, and the belt and everything. I'm going to stop and take the wing nuts off and lift the back off. Okay, so here's the kind of the mechanism of the wings. I guess first off, the wings are just a light cotton, kind of like really light canvas. The bottom 6 inches or so is just stiffened with 3/4 inch or 3/8 inch dowel. Maybe it's even smaller than that. It might even be 1/4 inch. Small dowel, just to kind of give the tips a little bit of weight so that they would fall properly. These are, you could probably just use 1 piece of plywood, 1/2 inch plywood. I added 2 pieces of 1/4 inch plywood, laminated together, rotated about 45 degrees to each other just to add a bit of strength. I don't know that it was necessary, but I kind of overbuild things. The belts are just simply normal dress belts put through, cut to length, and screwed on. The shoulder belts up top here are through a slot and shouldered, and then they go down and are attached on the front like so, just with screws. No biggie. The actual mechanism itself, let's see if we can get this working here. The actual mechanism itself, the wings are just on 1 central pivot with a bolt and some washers, and the activating string up there, so that they pivot just like this and are attached here. There was supposed to be a second beam along the bottom, but the physics of collapsing the wing while it was attached to both of them just wouldn't work. We would have had to tear the material. So we just turned them into kind of more bat-like rather than glider-like. But this is just stapled on the back, or nailed on the back. Those are just upholstery nails. The same with these. They're just kind of dome-headed decorative upholstery nails, which are what are keeping it onto the plywood. The string, I cut these off at the right angle so that they bonked into each other at the angle that we wanted them to meet. So they're kind of like a built-in stop so that she can't go too far. This piece here is cut at the same curve as the wings, so that when they're closed, they sit closer. This piece used to be square, but when it was, the bottoms of the wings were so far apart, like the wings sat like this, and she had a hard time walking in crowds because suddenly she was, 2.5 or 3 feet wide. So we rounded the edges there, and now they tuck in really nice and narrow, and they're pretty much no wider than her shoulders are, so it's not a problem. Let's see what else. These are actually, they're both different, but these are the things that you put. Well, they're these that you attach closet rods into to hold them up. And I had a couple of spares, and I wanted a nice large kind of pulley thing. They don't rotate or anything, but they're nice smooth plastic, so they work great. And the beautiful thing is this is 3/4 inch plywood here, and these are exactly 3/4 of an inch thick, so that when we put the string on, the string goes from here. The string goes from here like this, with this going underneath. Like that, with the string going like that. So now we've got this great easy pulley setup, but when the back board goes on, it's flush across the top, and it holds everything on the pulley, so now the string can't come off it. So now when we tug on this string, when you tug on this string, it pulls this piece here, which opens the wing. So then it's got these long bolts, and the back, which is just a simple piece of plywood with leather glued on it and some padding, goes on, and we just use wing nuts to hold it on. And that keeps the strings in place. When she pulls on the rings and pulls them down the front, she didn't do it much during the day because she was putting them up and taking them down and putting them up and taking them down, because it was really hard to walk around the convention floor with them up. But here, get the string. When the string was set up properly on the pulley, these little dowels at the bottom, she could hook them on the bottom so that she would pull the rings down, the wings would go up, and then she could, like, the rings were exactly the right length that when she hooked them on here, they stayed up in exactly the right place. And all she had to do was reach back and pop them off the dowels, and the wings would come down again. I think that's everything. I say this is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I had scrap sitting around. These are pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. Actually, I have the same piece that were scrap sitting around. You could use just about anything, 1x2s or whatever. These are just screwed on with 3/4 screws. Old belts. That's what these are. In fact, these are two different belts. They don't quite match, but they're close enough. And they're just looped through a slot and riveted and belted on there. I used these. I probably didn't need these large washers, but again, I overbuild. I really didn't want her to be walking around on the convention floor and have something pop off. And then this is an old dress belt too. And actually, this one was kind of funky because it's the two pieces in it, made it look even more, I don't know, steampunky, whatever. And we used a lot more of these finishing nails, these upholstery nails, even though this was on the inside. It was just a good way to hold the material down. That's kind of what they're made for. So, if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know.